like to first welcome everybody here to the first annual Manhattan Jewish Experience Brissathon. All of the proceeds from today's events will go to the construction of the new drive-through circumcision window that's being built on 86th Street. Connie, speaking on behalf of myself and Connie, both of us are completely overwhelmed by this community, by the incredible amount of love and interest in our lives, and now in the lives of our son. We are tremendously honored that everybody is here today to help share in the joy of this event. I wanted to make a quick comment about the Cutter family. For those of you who don't know the story, the other bris that's going on today, Ozzie and Jessica Cutter, is occurring because at precisely the same time, at the same hospital, on the same floor, Ozzie and Jessica, for whom we are close, delivered their child, their son, at the same moment. And it was a tremendous doubling of the simcha of having a child, to be able to share that with Ozzie and Jessica. And we wish the Cutter family the most tremendous amount of joy and happiness in their son, and tremendous nachas. Hani and I would like to share with you some thoughts regarding our new son and some blessings that we have for him. The act of naming a baby after someone is a very bittersweet moment. And to be honest, I really wish I would have had the opportunity to name our son after someone else. Doniel Simcha Perlman is named in honor of my father, Doniel Perlman, who passed away nearly 3 years ago. I want to first start off by making a few comments about the name that we did not choose. Many people thought that we would name our son David. After all, my father's Hebrew name was David. And Jewish tradition has it that King David was born on Shavuot, the day that our son was born. And it seems logical that that would be the name that we would choose. My father, however, we wanted for our son to have a name that could and hopefully will bring up my father's memory. And my father never really went by David, and he never referred to himself as David. And when we were thinking of names for our son, and thinking about my father Donald and what he was called Don, and he was called Donnie by the friends who really loved him the most, that Doniel seemed to be a name that would bring up constant memories of my father each time that we pronounced it. And the idea that perhaps our son's nickname would be Donnie, similar to my father, made it seem to us to be the logical choice. And we think that naming him Doniel will give us an infinite number of times to be able to pronounce my father's name. Quickly, who was Doniel biblically? Doniel was a talented youth who was abducted from the Jewish community of Judea and brought to Babylonia by Nebuchadnezzar. Doniel was abducted because he was seen to be one of extraordinary talent, intellectual talents and otherwise. And he was abducted to be a part of the court of Nebuchadnezzar, as this was a habit at the time of territories that were conquered to take the best and the brightest and to bring them into your own court as advisors. Doniel rose to incredible prominence quite rapidly in Babylonia. And while doing so, he was still able to adhere to Jewish tradition and Jewish values and Jewish observance. Despite this, his rapid ascent to prominence in Babylonia created a great deal of animosity with other advisors to the king. And eventually they plotted to bring him down, to destroy Doniel. And through an elaborate plot, ultimately leading to Doniel being cast into a pit of lions. The following morning, when Doniel was found to be alive and completely unscathed, this event was seen as a great miracle by the king, and he ended up tossing Doniel's accusers into the pit where they were consumed. When I think of this story, and I reflect upon the life of my father, I recognize several personality traits of my father that also were seen in Doniel. And two of the greatest qualities of my father were optimism and courage. I witnessed this firsthand when my father became ill approximately 3 years ago. And during that period of time, and specifically the last 10 weeks of his life, when he lived with me in my apartment on the Upper West Side. The ability to be optimistic and to look towards a bright future is something that we wish to bestow upon our son. While my father was sick, he always assumed the best, always assumed that he was going to get better, and was always preparing and anticipating for the next family trip that he would be able to take with his children and grandchildren, and preparing for a time that he would be better and be able to work again. In addition, he fought his illness with a great deal of courage. He never let his illness get the best of him, and in fact, he fought it all the way. I can recall times when he would call me in the middle of the day just to tell me how proud he was of himself, that he was able to walk an extra block, and then an extra block after that. He never let his illness get the better of him, and he tried to take control of this very difficult circumstance.